Then we have Queen 10 in the big blind. We face an open and a call. Seems like a fairly easy overcall here. Flop, yeah, I don't think we want to have any leads when we're covered by everyone.
Mm-hmm. And of course, I think when the ace is a gut shot, it just gives them too many calls. I doubt anyone is folding, really.
Mm-hmm. I agree, yeah. Now, on the turn, though, I think our hand makes for a decent bluff. We basically want to be betting super, super wide here because we have every single 6x and 2 pair there is. And we do have a heart, which is a bonus.
Yeah, I was probably spooked by the queen of clubs, which is like exactly what I want them to have. But yeah, the board is just really good, and if the button didn't stab, he probably doesn't have a 6 or a 7 or any pair.
Yeah.
So regardless of blockers, it probably just works so often for a cheap price.
Yeah, exactly. I agree with you that the queen of clubs is a really bad card to have, but in this spot, I think it just doesn't matter too much. I think our hand still gets to bet. I will be checking like Queen 10 without a heart or a diamond.
Yeah, if you have no suit. If you have double suit, it's straightforward almost. But yeah,
just like around, we get to the river,
or even the river maybe, because we have a lot of 8x, right? Just offsuit.
Yeah,
8x
I would again
they
bluff here.
Don't have.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, that's a miss.
Yeah, I just think like if we don't bluff this, then what are we even bluffing with? Because obviously we have a lot of hands that want to buy you bet.
Yeah, and everything else is gonna have a pair or some equity that's more natural to bet.
Yeah, end up losing to ace jack. It is what it is.
Next time.
Ace king is an open, very, very standard jam.
Yeah, so far it seems like I have ace king off or like jack 3 off.
Yes, indeed it does. Indeed it does. But that's nice hands to get because, you know, no hard decisions.
That's perfect.
Yeah.
That's pure comfort.
Tens against the button open and a call. Again, super clear jam for us. Button rejumps with ace 4 suited seems very, very standard, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, ace jack off. More playable hands. Yay. Okay, so we face an open from button out of hijack low jack. His bounty is starting one, which at this point is worth like 3 big blinds maybe. What do you think about ace jack here?
There's definitely a lot of thoughts because, of course, against the inducing range, I don't look so hot. You could argue maybe sometimes ace queen off is just gonna open jam, maybe even ace king off. I'm not really sure. But then in terms of equity, rather than playing a strong offsuit out of position, and potentially I could imagine RFI being a little bit too wide. If we think back to the queen 9 fold I made, I could imagine a few too many playable hands might open here. So if I can deny equity from his own queen 9 suited or some suited king X, maybe it's season to just take it and
in the queen 10 hand, he had 10-9 suited here, which seems very, very
close,
nice I guess, in this spot. So I agree with you. I think it's likely he opens a little bit too wide here, and ace jack just makes for a very good jam then. I agree. I would be jamming as well. And yeah, boom. Nines, sure.
And of course, true, against some pairs we do okay.
Yeah. Although I would think nines get to jam, right? Pre-flop.
Yeah, he definitely could.
4-15. I mean, yeah, this looks like the stack size where he doesn't want to have too many raises, just mostly limp or jams, I think. Because his bound is worth like 3-ish big blinds, as we said.
Yeah, it's not much.
Yeah. But yeah, nines, we take it. Queen deuce, we are covered slightly. So here, I think, against very aggressive opponents, we could go for a fold, because just one of the worst hands will limp anyway.
Yeah.
But I think against this guy, we saw him before, probably recreational, so I think limping a bit more makes sense. I don't think he will find enough ISOs. And yeah, check fold looks very, very standard. Aces, yeah, it's been a while. We open, of course.
And there will be more, I think.
Big blind defense. Your check back here, do you want to talk about this? I think it's good.
I would say, but once we go a little bit shallower, um, the more we need to check, kind of protect the overcards. I think if we're maybe very deep, I would just bet. Yeah, I mean, clearly, I think the defending range has a lot of top pair, second pair, a lot of straight draws, a lot of flush draws. So yeah, it doesn't seem like we want to just blindly range bet everything. And so some of the broadways also just don't do that much. If I have king queen here, even the ace highs, I think the ace highs may have a pair, a backdoor draw. So it's not too productive, for example, to bet king queen or something like that.
Yep, yeah, I agree with you. This is not a range bet board, and adding some aces, especially these aces with a spade and a heart to the checkback range makes a lot of sense. So I think really good checkback. We get a fairly bad turn card. And
yeah, I agree. I don't know. Should I go smaller maybe?
Yeah, I think so. I think either smaller or maybe I can see just checking back again. We don't really need much protection. And yeah, just allowing him to catch up or bluff, I think seems reasonable. Like this looks like a bet that's very hard to get called.
Yeah, I figured if he has a pair, maybe he will see one and I just get like one good street. But yeah.
Yeah, and our range even looks super ace high heavy, right? After checking back the flop.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Okay, next up, ace queen. Facing a button open, seems like a pretty clear jam.
Yeah, I think if we're a little bit deeper, we should make like a huge free bet, right around 30, maybe 35. Yeah, I think jam is good.
Yep, I agree. And he folds. 8-9 off, facing, yep, never mind. Facing a free bet, of course we fold. Okay, 10-7, facing an open from the hijack. So his opening range should be pretty tight here, but covering in a PSKO, and he has a fairly large bounty as well. It's like 4.5 starting bounties. So maybe like 7k chips at this point.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Like 6 to 7k chips. So like 8-ish blinds. So he opens off 18 and his bound is worth 8. So we definitely want a VPAPY.
Yeah, that should be a happy one.
We defend and flop goes check. So I would imagine this is just a range bet flop for in position, right?
Yeah, it's like 1.5 broadways. It's gonna have a lot of broadways, a lot of just jack X, or even like king queen, queen 10. Those are all very strong hands. Yeah.
Yeah, and he can just bet call with his hands.
Yeah,
It's exactly. No problem. Turn 7, we check. Yep, doesn't look like a hand we want to be leading.
Yeah, I can still have some 9x, maybe pocket 8s, maybe 10. Well, 10s is unlikely, but yeah.
Yeah. So facing a large bet on the turn, I'm not very happy at this point because when I see someone check back a range bet board, I generally think that he's likely to have like the most natural hands, like 10s.
Yeah,
or like
something
jacks.
At least. This is not going to be like ace-2s of hearts.
Yeah, I don't think so exactly. So on the turn, I'm not happy, but we can improve to the straight, so we can really fold. But I would be folding like a naked 7.
Yeah, totally.
We call and we get there. And we face a small 30% bet. I think we just have to get it in here. And we get called by Queen Jack, which is, a bit strange. I'm not sure what the thought process.
I mean, it could be some sort of a little bit of meta game. If I face a check here, maybe he thinks maybe I might do something crazy on the turn. But yeah, I think it's just betting is very standard.
Yep, I agree with you as well.
Maybe if you trap once again, you could use like aces with a diamond that need like 0 protection.
Yeah. Okay, ace 5 off, facing a cutoff open. So at this point, we should be very close to the money bubble, right?
Yeah, it seems like a big bet is 800. Yeah, that was probably a consideration for it too. I think usually you want maybe like ace 8 off. But I think once cutoff also opens a little bit too much, then this seems okay too.
Yeah, so this kind of offsuit ace-6 are the kind of hands we want to be using here. Because as we know, the big stack wants to be calling a lot, or the covering stack wants to be calling a lot. So our bluffs are going to be super polar, and these offsuit ace-6 hands look like the best candidates. And it works. Yay. king queen, very standard and open. And on the flop, you go for a check. So I think since we're not really in the money yet, we're probably going to have a lot of pressure on us. So I think checking a lot makes sense. Otherwise, because our opening range would be somewhat tight here, I think this is a board where we get to bet a lot because we have all the option king ace.
Yeah, and I think especially king queen makes a good bet. I think, for example, ace king, maybe you can check with a little bit more, or if you have a weaker king.
Yeah, exactly, because ace king doesn't need protection from the ace.
Mm-hmm.
On the turn, you go for this kind of half pot bet, and I think I would just rather size up here. I think king queen is basically the nuts. Sorry, what did you say?
No, I was not sure if you were gonna say down or up.
No, up. I think like maybe pot or overbet here makes sense. We just have the nuts basically, and we also have a lot of natural bluffs. I think just going large on the turn makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, I definitely think that the hand is worth more. I was just considering there are still so many like Broadway's ace highs that are just snap folding. But yeah, this hand for sure, just if he has something like a pair and a gutter, you can just get a little bit more.
Yeah. Ace-6 suited, we open, same guy calls. And yeah, of course, we check fold against this huge sizing. Makes sense. Yep, not really a decision against an open a 3-bet. Okay, king queen suited. So here we are very close to the stone bubble. And we open king queen suited, and we get a 3-bet by the covering stack. So what do you think about spots like this, facing 3-bets on PSKO bubbles?
Very tough. The sizing is also extremely large. And then to complicate things, we have the whole meta game with cutoff being short. I don't think the sizing is too much of like queens plus. I think it's more going to be like ace king and then some weaker bluffs. You could have like a bunch of like ace 10 off, king jack off in there as well. With ICM, probably not much flatting at all. I mean, even a hand like this could maybe jam, but if we call anything, it's probably going to be like ace jack suited, king queen suited, but not much else at all. But yeah, tough spot.
Yeah. So I think my default would be to fold here, especially because this guy has been very call heavy so far. Hasn't really been 3-betting much, at least against us in the hands we've seen. So I think I would probably lean a bit more towards folding, but I think all the options will be very close here, whether we call or jam or fold. We end up calling, we get a king high flop, and yeah, I think on the bubble we'll just call. I would be raising if it was a normal
It's very
stage.
tricky though, because how does my range look again? Because I don't have too many pairs. I have like a lot of ace jack suited, king queen suited. But yeah, I guess I do have some tens in there.
And some jacks
nines.
potentially, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't have many kings, so I guess we don't raise.
Turn goes check, and
got creative.
Yeah, so I think against a recreational weaker kind of player, this makes a lot of sense because we will end up getting called by worse hands for sure. Like if he has queens or jacks, he will just click the call button or king 10 or something.
Exactly. King jack offsuit, king 9 suited.
Yeah. And at the same time, I think it's very hard for him to raise. So this just increases our equity realization a lot. And potentially we end up getting some value as well. So I definitely think I like it. I don't think it's theory approved, but I do think it works well against...
a little cheeky.
Yeah.
And I mean, we managed to block out an ace that checked the turn.
Yeah, ace jack checking turn is very, very interesting.
Very afraid of something.
Yes. She put you on ace queen. 5-4 folding. Yeah, again, we're on the bubble, so we definitely want to be defending tight here. Otherwise, we would be calling, of course. 9-7, facing a jam, no real decision. And ace jack. We face a limp from the cutoff. The reason is because of the big blind, surely, who has 3.7 big blinds. And our hand just looks like a pretty clear jam, right?
Yeah, I think it being offsuit, I don't want to really raise to like 4 blinds because even then maybe big blind can call and he can just flat. It's not a great post-flop hand. It's interesting. I was thinking, if you have like ace jack suited, would you overlimp to trap the big blind or would you also just raise?
Yeah, so I think as long as we're still on the bubble, there isn't too much trapping to do for the big blind. It's just going to check a lot and be like reasonably tight post-flop. So, no, I think I would be jamming ace-jack suited as well. If this was after the bubble, then I would be way more incentivized to overlimp.
No, but yeah, I think I do even recall that this spot definitely wasn't in the money yet. I was sweating a little bit.
Ace-king, so we open and we call against king-queen. So I imagine this is in the money at this point, seeing the jam. Yeah, it is in the money. So congratulations, we made it. What do you think about his jam?
Yeah, I guess he's short enough. I think it's all right.
Yeah. Yeah, I think at this stack size, it's fine. If he was a bit deeper, like maybe 12, then I would be more inclined to just fold because you're opening a very tight raise to begin with. 4-9, yes, we fold. Jack deuce. Let's see. We limp. Yep, seems very good and standard. On the flop, you go for a check.
Yeah, would have liked it.
Yeah, and I think against, as we said, like someone who is potentially recreational or a weaker player, I would just like betting more.
Yeah, well, I guess like 3 and 4, generally we check a bunch, but for sure this is the prime betting candidate.
Yep, and turn bet, yep, of course, looks very good. We have ace-10 offsuit. Yeah, so our bounty here is like 5-ish starting bounties. So at this point, it should be worth maybe like 2k each chips for one, a bit less, like 1.9k or so. So we have 5 starting, which is like 9.5k, which is like 7-ish big blinds. So similar spot to what we saw before. We have like 27, our bounty is worth like 7-ish. So we don't want to have many limps here.
Yeah, bounty is not crazy high.
Both blinds call, and
I guess we call one?
I guess we call. And yeah, looks good. I would play exactly the same. Queen 10, similar spot. We want to be fairly tight and just raise a lot, not limp that much. And folding against the 3-bet. Yep, we fold. Okay, so this spot is fairly different than those before. We have a much shorter stack, and also there is the small blind who is shorter, so limp or jam spot, yes?
Yeah, I think particularly if the Shosik is in the small blind, there's more reason to get him into the pot by limping. And yeah, as I said, I think below 20 bigs is the more common limping stack size.
Yep. Big blind checks, and we get queen 9-7. So this is a board where we don't want to be c-betting too much. And checking back, have like ace-10 bucks of flash draw seems very reasonable. Against the pot bet, we'll just cry and fold. Very unfortunate. Okay, so we have ace-9 off here on the hijack. And you want to talk about this spot?
Yeah, here I just played the ace-10, so I was thinking again, okay, small blind is pretty short, so maybe it makes more sense than usually to limp to get him into the pot. Maybe if I limp, he's gonna jam like any ace, but if I open or if I jam, those will fold a lot. How big is cutoff's bounty? I'm not sure if I should limp call or if I
cutoff has 2.5, so not worth that much at this point.
Pretty small. Yeah. So I mean,
and the small blind who is Angelov has 1.5. So both bounties are pretty small.
Yeah. But maybe what I didn't consider enough is that we cover 2 players, so you can maybe say we are a little bit closer to a cutoff position. And then if we have like ace-9 off from the cutoff, maybe we could just put this, maybe we can still play limp and jam, but then just jam this.
Yeah, exactly. I think this is the key point here, that we covered 2 of the guys. So basically, the effective stack size is quite a bit lower. We covered 2 guys, so like their stack is lower, but then also we have the bounty, so our stack is effectively lower as well. So it's a spot where I would play, limp or jams and just jam a hand like this. And we can see the solver plays like that as well. So no real raising, and we just jam fairly wide, like ace-8 off plus, broadways, suited and offsuit, pocket pairs, suited aces.
Yeah, it fits everyone to jam. Too much of a unlimiting mindset they deck then.
But I think in this spot, it's important to think about what the effective stack size is, both because of our bounty and the 2 stacks that we cover.
Yeah, it's not like we risk our stack against everyone.
Yeah. We go post flop, and small blind leads small. I guess we just jam here.
Yeah, I mean, I don't mind that. True, that makes sense. Call, jam.
Yeah, I mean,
I have no idea.
That is very confusing. I'm not sure what to make of this. Obviously, the small blind shouldn't have any non-equity lead. I don't know. Whatever. Yeah, 4-way lead.
Confusing the audience.
Yes, but I think I'll just get it in on the flop and realize my equity with a backdoor straight, backdoor flush draw over.
We could even like dominate a few draws. I don't think he has a queen ever, right? Why is a queen?
Yeah, and even if he does, we have some equity against that.
Mm-hmm.
Next up, we have king 5 suited. We call on the flop. Yeah, very standard. Continue.
Would you start leading, or it doesn't feel like the hand?
I think on the river, though, I would just bluff, because it seems like the 5 is like the bottom of our range. I don't think we have anything worse here.
I was probably still... maybe I figured that the jack does decently with his betting range, because it doesn't feel like people blindly c-bet this flop. So maybe I was probably thinking, if he bets, it may be like jack 10 off, queen 10 off. But yeah, it's just such a weak hand.
Yeah, and in terms of worse hands, we have like king queen, I guess.
Yeah, it's just a random other 5, but very similar.
Yeah. And like a lot of our other 5s, we have something to go for. So I think I'll just bluff here.
Listen.
And as played, I guess we fold. 4 big blind jam, folds to us on the small blind, ace-9 off, very, very crystal clear rejam. And we win against king 9 off. Seems like a bit of a wide jam for 4.5 in a PSKO, but maybe.
I think just ace-x king does have a bunch of value here when you get... I think it's okay.
Yep.
I mean, I'm not totally sure what the payouts look like right now.
Okay, king-x suited from the hijack, and we go for a limp.
Please, again, maybe this is another like close spot where you can probably just raise, but maybe limping isn't. She doesn't seem bad. Maybe get the button involved somehow.
Yeah, so here our bounty is worth again like around 6-7-ish big blinds. So I think I would be raising a bunch. I don't think limping is bad, but also, as we said, the button just doesn't have a relevant bounty that much.
Right.
So because of that, I would just raise and I think call against the big blind potentially as well.
Mm-hmm.
That would be my thought process here.
Yeah, and this will be interesting.
But let's see. So yeah, we don't care. Perfect.
Yeah, I would raise.
But yes, sure. So seeing this, I would follow the same thought process before, where I would just have pure raises and no limps. And let's see. So against the small blind jam, we get to call off. Yeah,
it's close. To can you check the EV?
Yeah, so it's gonna be super close because it mixes some folds as well. It's basically 0.
Sure.
But I think we might see a few more jams as well, like some ace and off from the small blind, potentially.
I think it might be a lot more ace-x actually. Not couldn't you see like ace-8 off, ace-9 off, or any suited ace? I could definitely see.
Yeah, which makes I think king-x suited a bit better, and then also he might not jam like kings.
Oh yeah. Is that really just? Oh, sorry. That is against an open. I thought against the limb.
No, against the open. I'm sorry. Against the open.
Okay.
And then big blind, I think we'll also end up jamming a bit more against our open. So overall, yeah, I think we could just raise call king jack suited here.
Yeah, it's interesting because I was already thinking about limping, because I think if we limp, there's a lot more ace-x in the range, which is why I folded.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
I guess maybe that's another point. We should just raise so we can call it off and not limp and make like ace-5 off jam on us.
Yeah, so this is what the big blind is supposed to be jamming here. So pocket pairs and some like good offsuit ace-6. I think in reality, he will jam a lot more.
Oh, God. Way more, yeah.
Like, not in terms of value range. Like, I don't think he's going to be jamming, like, I don't know, jacks.
Mm-hmm.
But ace-9 off, ace-5 suited, I think these hands will be jamming a lot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think some of the lower suited aces may be pure.
Mm-hmm. But even against this range, so let's see, against this range, king-jack suited is losing a little bit. King-queen is break even. But yeah, I think if we adjust his range a bit and consider more offsuit ace-6 or suited ace-6, king-jack suited probably makes it. But yeah, overall, I think just raise and call it off. As played, you folded. Yeah, I think this is fine too. Like, obviously, it's never going to be super exciting. Okay, so when these two guys were all in, that was still fine. But now that the small blind rejumps, what kind of hands are we looking for here? First, of course, we should have a look at the bounties. But we know Lirola's bounty is 2.5 starting bounties, which at this point is worth like what, 2-3 big blinds, something like that.
Yeah, like 5k or something like that.
Yeah, 5k. Yeah, that's why I said like around 3-ish big blinds. The bottom has around the same, and then the small blind Petrov has, where are you? 7-5, so 1.5 starting.
Very small.
So their bounties in total are gonna be worth like 6 big blinds or something.
Yeah, I think we were looking for these multi-way crushers. I think offsuit hands, even relatively strong ones, are gonna do quite poor. One small blind joins probably. So I don't know, king jack off. Not sure. Maybe is this the line you think? King jack off? Can we go or should we fold?
Yeah, I think king jack off seems like a reasonable hand to get in with. But yeah, basically we're looking for suited hands, and suited connectors here are really, really good.
Yeah,
and
like
ace-6 are the worst.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just random ace-6.
Yeah, we looked at spots like this in the multi-way all-in chapter, and basically, yeah, offsuit hands just terrible. Ace-6, literally the worst hands you can ever pick in these spots. So good fold, I think. And yeah, we would have been very live though.
Yeah, surprisingly.
Okay, sevens facing an open, 17 blinds. Seems like a pretty clear jam. Oh no.
No, it's not a problem.
Yeah, very standard hand. I mean, his rejam, obviously, super standard. Then we have pocket threes.
Close?
Yeah, this seems very close, but I think once we cover the two in-position stacks, which are like the main problems usually, it's fine to open wide.
I mean, yeah, deuces I would still fold, I think, looking at this now. Fours feels more normal.
Flop check back, yeah, I guess fine. I think betting could also be fine.
Sure.
On the turn, yeah, really good bet. We get to fold out so many hands. So under the gun opens of 20 blinds with 1.5 starting bounty, so his bounty is basically non-existent. So yeah, we just want to be calling this kind of hands. No real reason to 3-bet. We just end up getting it in against worse.
Right.
On the flop, I think we can go either way, either bet or check, both fine options, right?
Yeah, I think generally probably 10x should be pretty decent for EP, who has all the offset ones. Really don't want to get check raised with this one, and maybe, yeah, it's tough. I don't know.
Yeah, I think.
Oh, sorry.
Go on. No, go on.
I'm usually thinking on boards like this that out of position is not c-betting enough or is putting too many traps in his range, so people may just range check, and that could mean he may have like jacks, queens, aces a little bit more than he should. Maybe same for 10x. So that could be a problem for calling. And then, of course, if he does have like his jack 9 suited, queen 9 suited, these hands are they feel obligated to bluff, but I do block some of them.
Yeah, for sure. I think it's a spot where we'd rather have like 6s than 9s.
Oh, yeah.
Like bidding an 8 is irrelevant, doesn't really matter. Blocking 10-9 suited also seems a bit irrelevant because it won't choose this sizing on the king. So yeah, I think we get to fold this and call maybe worse pocket pairs or lower pocket pairs. Sevens facing a bottom jump, super, super easy, happy call. And very happy run out as well. 6 deuce, yeah, just folding, we are covered even. Queen then suited, facing the under the gun, big stack open, just calling, not much else to do. On the flop, I think betting could be a thing, checking also fine. I think this kind of hand just wanna mix.
Yeah, like a small bet can be very, very effective.
Mm-hmm. On the turn, I think same thing. Usually these kind of random non-equity hands with no good qualities are fine either way, whether they bet or they check, they don't really care much.
Does it maybe make sense to bluff the other suits that block Jack X suited, or does he still have enough offsuit hands that it's whatever?
I think he still has enough random offsuit hands. And here, of course, just folding. Okay, jacks now. We open, we face a 3-bet of a 24, 23 big blind stack. Very clear rejam for us. And we get it in against tens. Perfect.
Perfect, yeah.
We didn't even need the suck-up jack on the river.
Insurance.
Yeah. Usually they have queens there, so might as well be safe.
Yeah, I agree.
8-3, of course, we fold. I'm going a bit quicker now because some of these hands aren't too interesting, and I also want to be able to make the entire run.
Yep.
Ace-jack, raise and take it, perfect. Another ace-jack. Okay, now we get 3-bet. I think this just looks like a pretty straightforward fold. Not much to do with this hand. This is interesting. I think against this sizing, fold is fine, but call against smaller. What do you think?
I do think once we are getting a little bit deep now, like last couple of tables probably. I think these are definitely the hands to avoid, like the jack deuce. Maybe also queen deuce suited, and then if it's a bigger size, to me this feels like a very clear fold against the 2.5x and the call.
Yeah.
I'm not even sure against 2.3. I also don't cover anyone, of course.
Yeah. When I said smaller, I mean like a min raise. I think against a min raise, I would call.
Oh yeah, okay. Yeah, against the min raise, sure. But yeah, I think these are the danger hands usually.
Yeah. And just as a note, we're on like final 3 tables ish now. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, should be around that. Aces, we open, and sadly no 3-bets. But and then we get them again.
And same suits.
Yeah.
It's pretty standard.
And now we get a bit of a better outcome.
I think so.
And yeah, Jack then suited. What do you think about this kind of jam?
How big is this bounty? How is this full equity looking?
Yeah, so
I'm generally a fan of being aggressive with Jack 10 suited.
He has a starting bounty, which is worth at this point like not even one big blind, nothing. Yeah, so it's
that is very good for his cause. Can you just replay? Maybe stacks and positions. I mean, I think he has decent fold equity. I don't mind this, to be honest. I'm kind of opening late position. Button is also calling wide. I think with the low bounty, this is probably good.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. So I think this is a spot where you will be opening fairly wide and the button will be calling super wide. So because he has no bounty, he gets to attack these wide opening ranges by jamming a lot. The bigger his bounty, the tighter he should play. So if his bounty was in line with the average bounty, which would be worth like, 4 or 5 big lines, then he should definitely not jam Jack 10 suited.
Yeah.
And stick to a more kind of like high card heavy linear range. But here I think the jam is very good. But we have aces. And I just checked, he finished 20th. So yeah, we're 19 left now. Pocket fives, crystal clear call. And yeah, folding against the big sizing for sure.
Would you continue against the third or like a quarter?
Against the quarter, I think yes. Against the third, only with a club.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, cool.
8-3 suited, defending against the wide button opening range that we cover. Flop goes check turn. Yeah, I think betting is fine. Now, I'm not sure we want to have that many small sizings. I think even the 8 could go into the larger sizing here. To attack a size.
It could be worth or maybe half pot.
Yeah, and also on the double flush draw board, I just don't think we want to have that many super small sizings.
Yes. Yeah, I can get behind that.
She folds.
Which is kind of surprising, right? Against small bets.
Yeah. I mean, I don't even know what kind of hand.
Yeah, like even if you have a random king jack, but
king jack just called, maybe like ace 5.
Yeah, maybe a reggy ace.
Maybe like ace 5 with a heart or something that he decides.
But that's maybe another good point. If I'm surprised he folds anything, I should just bet larger, right?
Yeah, well, I guess that's a good point. So 10-8 suited, we call. How do you approach this spot when we're like final, 16 players or something?
Yeah, you usually probably we need to tighten up a bit compared to usually, but it is a min raise, and I think a pretty big point is a short, a big blind that can't squeeze, or at least we can hunt his bounty. I don't know how big it was.
It is like 8.5, so it's reasonably big. Yeah, worth like 5-ish big blinds.
Yeah, I mean, I would still flat a bunch of these playable hands. Just tighten up slightly.
One thing worth mentioning here is that because we are 2 big stacks fairly deep in the tournament, our value range doesn't really want to. A big portion of our value range doesn't want to 3-bet. Like, do we want to 3-bet pocket 10s here? Probably not, right? Or ace queen?
Nah, it can get very awkward, yeah.
Exactly. So because we end up calling a lot of these stronger hands, we are allowed to expand with suited connected stuff as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think this is a very good call. And big blind folds. I think checking down looks very, very reasonable. And jack 10, yeah, I think his line looks reasonable too. Wow, a reasonable hand. We usually don't have those. King jack facing an open. Just as we said, the big stacks want to be calling a lot. And this looks like a hand that just wants to call. Would 3-bet like offsuit a6, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, or just, maybe a king 10 off, but...
Yeah. On the flop, our hand can go either way. 3-way, we just want to be betting a bunch of nothings here. Especially in a spot where the big one will probably be a bit tighter than a normal, like, cheap EV spot. You won't have as many, like, 6-4 offsuit hands.
Maybe you rather bet when we have 2 backdoor flush draw blockers as a small detail.
Yeah, sure. Turn jack, small bet, we call. We don't really want to have many raises here. River, another jack. And you go for a sizing.
This is weird, yeah. How big should I go here? I'm not sure what he has now.
So I would go for a larger sizing because I think overall our range just wants to go bigger. Basically, we don't really have much like 8s, 9s kind of hands because we would bet flop. We don't have much 7x because we would bet flop. So our value range is mostly jack X, and our bluffs is mostly going to be like 9, 10, 8, 9, and flusters. Maybe like ace 4. If we even bluff that. I guess not. So because we have very strong value hands and then bluffs, I think just going for like a post size bet makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, sounds good. Yeah, to be fair, this bet feels like I'm betting like pocket 9s, which I would have bet earlier.
Yeah, exactly. Like
I was maybe trying to get like some sort of spooey Yui call. I'm not sure. Maybe I was. Are you surprised to see 6s?
I think it's fine. I think it looks like a reasonable calling hand.
No, but I mean, would you consider betting the flop multi-way just because you need so much protection and you?
I don't think so. I think this looks
5x,
like
3x.
I think when you bet, you want to be beating a 7 basically.
Okay, yeah,
like 8s, 9s, 10s. I think this would be my main betting hands. Next up, queen deuce. So we have an open and we fold. We cover. I think I'll just call here, covering. Like his opening range should be very wide, and it's gonna be a small pot. No one's incentivized to put much money in.
Yeah, I just figured maybe ICM, or it's not a full table, so a little bit less antes. It must be close, right?
Yeah, and I think again we have the concept here where because we don't 3-bet value hands very wide, we can defend weaker as well. But definitely super close. Like Jack 5 suited for 14.5, and we said his bounty is.
It was pretty good.
Yeah, compared. Like 8.5, which is like 17k. So yeah, like 5-6 big blinds. So definitely jamming. Queen 10, we open, and yeah, against one guy we call. Now, when there is a second guy whose bounty is very small, we just have to fold the hand like this. That's terrible.
This is a total problem hand.
Yeah. I told you should call. Why don't you listen to me? Okay. Next, we have pocket 7, so wide opening range, and then we have a jam from the bottom. So first thing we want to look at, of course, is his bounty, so that we can think about the spot appropriately. So he has around 10 standing bounties. So around 5 big blinds, right? Because that would be like 20k, maybe 21k or so. So like 5.5 big blinds.
So, yeah, quite a bit.
Yeah, so it is quite a bit. And the opening range is also going to be very wide. And we cover the opener as well. So,
yeah, I think...
Go on. Tell me your thoughts.
Yeah, probably we can get this in. I was maybe dreading a little bit running into some sort of a cut-off disaster. But yeah, as you said, his guy's just going to be so wide that it's not too scary. And we can still call fold, I think, right? With a hand like
exactly.
This.
So I would be planning to just call here. I don't think I would have too many rejams. And 7s looks like a hand that does pretty well against the jamming range, with the bounty considered. And as you said, the cutoff will just be opening so wide that I think it's fine for us to call. Definitely near the bottom, though. So let's see, cutoff opening 38%. I wouldn't be surprised to see a wider opening range in reality.
Yeah, especially if the button is rather short and not calling that much.
Button jamming like this, I think it looks somewhat reasonable.
Yeah, in game, I wasn't sure about like ace-9 off, 5s, ace-7, but yeah, I mean...
And maybe he doesn't jump ace-9 off, but he jumps roughly, full jack suited or something. But I think it looks fairly reasonable.
Looks good roughly, yeah.
And maybe he does like something stupid with aces sometimes. And against that, let's see. So, yes, we're playing calls only from the big blind. And we get to go fairly wide. Yeah, 6s plus, ace-10 suited, ace-jack off, basically. 7's near the bottom, but I think it's a hand that we do end up calling. So after we call, let's see, what is the cutoff supposed to do? So he's actually supposed to end up...
that's aggro.
Yeah. This appears to be locked. I think we can have a look at what happens if we unlock the response and see how we should play against that. But overall, yeah, I think this looks kind of reasonable. And at the end of the video, I will run this with an unlocked response and see what happens then. But yeah, I think it looks fairly reasonable. Okay, we end up folding. It's going to be a fairly marginal hand, so I don't hate it. But I think we should get it in.
Seems good enough to call, though.
Yeah. 4-5 off. We get walked. 6-7. Yep, very, very clear fold. So now we should be final 2 tables, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Hexagonal wins, and just so we can confirm, let's see what position this guy finished in. 15th. Yeah, so definitely final 2 tables. Aces, been a while.
This is how you win tournaments.
Yes, for sure. We 3-bet here, yep, not a spot we want to be trapping much. And aces definitely a hand.
And yeah, holding aces just means the trap isn't usually working.
Yep. So here we are tied with the small blind for the top stack. We definitely want to be opening wide here. Queen 10 makes it. And just folding against the 3-bet. Ace-3 off, we face a jam from the cutoff. And we always want to be checking the bounty here.
But I think
he's here, so like 5-ish starting, which is like 2 big blinds
at most.
Yeah, so definitely not enough for us to call a hand as garbage as ace-3 off.
And of course, you also have to expect a rather strong range at this stage.
Yeah. So I think like ace-8 off was that we call? Something like that.
Sounds good.
Yeah. Then we have ace-10. We open, of course, no limping here. As we know, there's no limping in ICM at all. I've run a bunch of sims and was never able to find a limping spot for ICM unless there is like a super short stack with a huge boundary.
Yeah.